point. Image and calculations. Let's just go to that. Calculations there. And you can see as you go into there, you've got this source document. Now I could set up as text or gradients. It could be a different PSD file. It needs to be open. It also needs to be the same format and also needs to be the same size. So make certain that is the case. Otherwise you'll probably find this doesn't work. It might work, but I think the case is they need all to be consistent. This one, go with the layer. You can change these. Also, you can change alpha 2. You'll notice it changes alpha 3. You go through this. You can use those as well. You can also use the red, blue, and you can run through, change those. And also, you've got this other one. Again, that could be a text document, a different text document. Could be a different set of words. Also, you could have different images. Maybe you could have faces in one, maybe buildings in another, or build different buildings, different cities. So New York, pictures of New York combined, so you could blend them all together. And then also you've got this as well, layer 7, layer 5. You can run through all these layers you've got here. Layer 3. Now sometimes you will notice that nothing changes. That's just the way it works. Maybe there's some setting that it just doesn't, it will not work with that bit. You just have to change the layer, change the channel. You can run through them, and as you do that you can see that sometimes you get a result, sometimes not. And you can see you've got these, you've got the visual guide here, you've got the visual guide here. Does require a little bit of trial and error sometimes, but it is visual, so you can see the result on screen. And what it does, it creates this channel, but it also blends between the two. So you can always decide, you know what, I want to use vivid light, hard light, go through those, lighten, run through them very quickly. And also you've got add and subtract, which is very useful. So you can offset and scale. Weirdly, and I don't know why, but in apply image, this is in a different order. Scale is the other one and offset's the other side. I think that's the case. It just seems odd that they've just changed it slightly, or it's just below. It's not exactly the same format, I don't think. Also, you can use opacity, so you can tweak that as well. But add and subtract, very useful. Unfortunately, the result doesn't, when you run through it, you see, go run through it like that, doesn't change until you select. So it's a bit different from the layers panel. I would love to see it automatically updated. Again, run through these different ones. And then once you think, you know what, that's great, that design. New channel, click OK. And then you've got Alpha 8 added there. You can rename them, of course. Don't have to keep them there. You can just quickly rename it. So you just go double click on that and you obviously see it displayed there and you can give it a name. Go there and you can double click it and you've got options here as well. Give it a name. So you can tweak those as well. But anytime, go back to image menu and calculations. And now, because you've created that alpha, that 8, you've got alpha 8 there. Hasn't added any channels, so you've got no additional channels, but you've got alpha 8. So it's even more. Each and every time, additional layers of channels can be created. No layers are created. Please remember that. No layers are created with calculations, but the channel. So alpha 4, and going to go with difference, and again, click OK. So that's calculations. And you've got all these wonderful alpha channels, which is great. You think, well, what can I do with them? I've got lots and lots. You can, of course, use them for selections, for a whole range of different things. And you've got options down here. So you can see there, you've got load channel as selection. So you just click there, and you can see now that's very quickly loaded as a selection. You can go back to the RGB for that layer or for that image. You can go and select one of the other ones as well. Don't have to use just that one. You could deselect this, use layer 7 instead. And then just go here, gradient tool or something else. And you can apply gradients to your selection and only to the selection. So you can do that over it. So you can now see that layer 8 has been changed. But you've got all these alpha channels that can be used for that. Now you can also click here again, this time alpha 3. Just use that as the selection. You can see the selection there, created very quickly by clicking there. You can also, maybe better, go to select and you can load selection. The reason why it's slightly better, because you've got this, new selection, add to selection. So if you've got a selection already, like this, you can go to alpha 4 and you can say add to selection. So you can add the alpha 4 to the alpha 3, etc. So you can create all kinds of different selections. Once you've got your selection, go to the gradient tool again, or brush strokes, or images, or anything, and use that. Or copy and paste. You can use them as a great source for layers. So go over here and edit and copy, edit and paste. So it's pasted as a layer, hopefully. Control C, Control V. Yes. Don't know why I didn't do it that first time. Must have been doing something wrong. But you can see what happens. It should generate a layer. Sometimes when it doesn't, you think that's very odd. But there's layer 9. And then you can change it, you can tweak it, you can distort it. It's just a layer. So you can select it, you can see there. And also you can go to layer, layer style, and bevel emboss. So bevel emboss, and you can see the result of that. There is your layer that you've just created from all those alpha channels from the calculations. And then you can manipulate this. Just remove that. So you can create some very interesting plastic wrap or wrap designs just by modifying this. Change the depth, go for emboss, and so on. Click OK. You may not want that, but that's an option that you can create from having all of these alpha channels. I'm just going to delete that now. I don't want that. Because what you can also do with calculations and alpha channels is go to apply image. So image and apply image. Apply image is great. I've done a load of tutorials. Please check all those out for text, for images, for various brush strokes. But you can also, of course, now use this. Again, you could have multiple documents. I've only just got one in this example. And I'm using layer 8. You could create a new layer. That's just as good, but I'm just going to go with layer 8. And then you've got here layer 8. Of course, layer 8 is itself. I've got that selected. Layer 7. And you can see the result of that. And there is the layer 8 being used. And you can see the result. Lovely design there. RGB. But you've also can blend using this. Alpha channels. So alpha channels are in the list. You could use, of course, the actual red and green for that. But now alpha 3. Alpha 4. So all those alpha channels you've been used and creating in the calculations can now be used in alpha 5 and alpha 6 in this channel, alpha 7. Some are better than others. And again, you've got difference, but you can always go exclusion, subtract. Again, you've got that. And that's what I said about the scale and offset. Weirdly, one's below the other one. Why did they change that in calculations and apply image where clearly it would be nice if this was actually combined into a tab features because it's basically they're very useful together. And it would be great if it had randomize. I would love to see a randomize feature. So again, you can go through these alpha 5 and you can see the result of changing those. Sometimes good, sometimes not. Subtract, click OK. And you can create that layer 8. Again, go down here, create a new layer, edit and fill. You can fill it with white. You can also fill it with gradients or any other design as well. And then, exactly the same as before, image, apply image, using all of those results of the calculations. Alpha 5, combine there, subtract, difference, exclusion, divide. It's always a pity that it takes a few seconds to update to show the result, but lighten and so there, alpha 7. Now sometimes the result is not great and you can always undo. Again, select one of those ones, 5, 3, screen, colour dodge and so on, and click OK. Create millions and millions of colourful designs with the combination of calculations as well as apply image. And of course, these are just layers. once you've done all this, and I think it's probably best to do it after you've done it, because it does make it even more complex to understand what is being generated, is go to layers, and you can always go here, darken, multiply, and use the blending modes here. It's just got a list, and you can run through them. Or with that, go and apply effects. Filters, blur, Gaussian blur, any effect can be added to these. And then you can modify it using exactly the same. Image, apply image, combine it again. And also, likewise, the channels. You've got channels over here. Simply select the alpha channel. This alpha channel does not have to be frozen. You can modify it. You can apply any of these filters, so not all the filters. Some of the filters you will find will not be available because of the way it's done. It's a grayscale image. Blur gallery, for some weird reason, does not use grey. So you can go through these, stylize, even oil paint, my favourite one, not available. But distort and wave, just go there, and then you can distort it. Click OK, and you can see the result of that. And again, you can go to calculations, image and calculations. You've got all these options, and again, alpha 3, you can use that. Again, difference, subtract, and you can see you can create millions of other designs now combined with filter effects that applied to that one, or that one, or any of them. They can all have filter effects combined with the alpha channel, alpha 2, alpha 3, alpha 4, all the way down to 9 to 20. I'm not certain if there's a limit to how many alpha channels. I think there's a limit. You can't go beyond that limit, of course. It will reject that. And again, result, new channel. It is a pity it doesn't create it as a smart object and other options as well, but it doesn't. But you can always go and create all those things yourself separate from this calculations. So click OK at that point, and you can see the result of that design. And again, you can use that in other image effects as well.